Well, Matt, kind of have to start there. I mean, amazing results on Tuesday, but with the suspensions and then on top of the injuries, it's leaving a little short for the weekend.
Yeah, we're a little short, especially in certain areas of the pitch, but we don't want to use that as a headline or an excuse going into the game. I'm sure people will see probably by the team selection how we set up, where we are struggling a little bit, and hopefully that turns a corner at a certain stage in the season, and sooner rather than later. But I don't want that to be the feel of it going into the game. Certainly not for the players, because you know yourself, the players will grasp onto anything in relation to excuses. So we have to be strong with our mindset that whatever we put out there this weekend, we can still be competitive.
Is there anyone sort of who's been injured that is close enough even to be on the bench, let alone be able to start?
Not at the moment. There's a question mark over Harvey Vale in terms of what's happened previously, where he's at. He's back in the building today, hasn't trained properly yet, hasn't done enough in the last week or so. He's had so many tests, all of which have been green lighted, so to speak. So he might be able to affect it, but I'll be playing a player out of position, I suppose. But he's the only one who might be in the squad.
Yeah. So if you're in a position of having to play sort of slightly square pegs in round holes because there's no other option, do you amend your game plan to try and minimise the impact of that, or is that causing too many bigger problems?
It's a great question because you don't want to change too much and you don't want to come away from what we are, which is a footballing team. But we're well aware that if you're weaker in the middle of the pitch in terms of our ball use and handling the ball, then you don't want to put extra pressure on that department. So, you know, having an understanding of what the start of the game certainly looks like for those players in those positions, and then as the game goes on, seeing where we can strengthen. And if you're weak in one area, maybe you can strengthen elsewhere and put other bodies in certain areas of the pitch, which might just offload some of that pressure. Easier said than done. I'm sure we might have a young lad on the bench who might actually play a part as well. So it'd be really interesting to see. Like I say, we're talking about it now. I still want the feel of it to be a positive one going into the game.
Yeah, especially after what happened and the way they responded on Tuesday night. You want to build momentum off the back of that.
Yeah. Absolutely, I mean, 3 big points. I don't think we've come from behind in a long time at this football club. You asked me the other week, always told me a stat the other week. So great to get that monkey off our back, so to speak, but then to score 3 quality goals away from home and to also stand up to the game. But I still want us to stand up to the game from minute one and to be better in that first 20, 30 minutes where we have to withstand a little bit of pressure, but we really stand up to it and get there first. And we didn't do that for a period of time and paid a heavy price. Not many teams come from 2-0 down away at Stevenage against a team in the playoff positions. So that shows us at our best, but also the evening probably showed us at our worst.
Yeah, and are you taking that as progress, that at least it wasn't the way you wanted from minute one, but you got there by the end of it?
Yeah, but we've spoke at length in these conversations about inconsistency, and that was in-game inconsistency, where the extremes from one to another are just too big a gap. You know, I'd take level. I would take level at half time. I'd take level for longer in terms of individual performances and the team performances, because then you can build off the back of that and start to see signs of you going in the right direction and maybe more consistency in terms of our results, scorelines. I don't know, but that's what you always strive for as a manager, because I'm not sure physically I can take too many more of those nights like Tuesday night.
Yeah, well, you talked after the match about the shirt feeling heavy for some players and the sort of psychological impact of that. Is that something you can and do work on sort of day in, day out, or is that something that when you get a little bit of confidence, those sort of fears in the back of players' minds just sort of recede a little bit?
Yeah, but you know, you can talk all you want with the psychologists in the world, with the coaches, with the managers, with the players to players. It's all about actions, and at the moment we are on the wrong end of a poor first action in too many games, and that is the game giving us a real slap. So I want us to start slapping the game before it slaps us, and taking control of that, and also being better in terms of our capabilities. It's not just the psychological aspect or the physical aspect, which we've spoke at length, but it's about the qualities. And can we get the ball where we need it to be? And sometimes that's a defensive capacity, sometimes it's in possession. We're all probably more comfortable with when it's on the floor and at our feet. But too many games aren't like that, or not allowing us to do that for long periods. So finding different ways of being effective. And then when you're not at your most effective in terms of what the perfect game looks like in your mind, can you still be present Can you still be in the game? Can you still be contributing? Can you still be running hard and doing everything you need to do as a professional player? And we've just got to find balance at the moment where I could see after sort of 20 minutes we'd gone a little bit. We had gone a little bit in terms of the game and in terms of our brains, and it needed a big shift from not just myself but from the team, and then a goal to help that belief aspect.
And is that something from your sort of playing days? You must be able to improve that as a player, but can you go from where you are to where you want to be with the existing squad, or will it take?
No, it will take a fair amount of time because the weakness is still there. Like I said, it will still come down to are we good enough to withstand a physical bombardment or a long throw or a long ball down our channel or a second ball in midfield. We have to improve that in terms of the personnel we've got, and also them offsetting the ones who can do that with the ones who are less inclined to do that. And then you've got a balanced team. There's no real balance in our team at the moment. And then also speed and power and pace. Something where we're a little bit one-paced as a team. You want more of that, more physical presence to cover this. I thought Camille showed that actually on Tuesday. He was one of the better ones even in the first 20-25 minutes of the game. But that takes time in terms of not just a rushed January window. That probably takes a whole off season and then another window, and it probably takes 3 or 4 windows to get there, but we can improve it in a short amount of time, possibly the next window, and then the ones we have got at the moment will improve off the back of it, because you're only as strong as each other and you take strength from each other as well. And that was also the message to the fans, where they have to try and understand, not try to, but understand a little bit where the weaknesses are within the group.
Yeah, because there was a sense of optimism at the start of the season, and you look at your results, you've beaten 4 of the top 6 sides since you've come in, so there is quality there. It's just not being put out or on display for long enough at the moment.
Yeah, but against a certain type of team. That has been apparent for so long at this football club. We seem to be always a team who plays well against the top teams because it's a cleaner game. It's a cleaner game for longer. The top teams generally have the best players in the league who can control the ball for longer, and they build a certain way. The moment we play against teams who are less attacking and commit less bodies ahead of the ball or towards the ball and sit in a certain shape, there's no space for us to play in, and it's more of a back to front type game. And those are the games ultimately we've struggled with for far too long. It's great that we can say we beat the Boltons, the Portsmouth, even Stevenage to a certain extent of the world, but that means absolutely nothing if you can't back it with 3 points against teams around you or below you in the table.
So what are you expecting from Northampton this coming weekend?
A strong Northampton team, especially at home, and probably no different to what we'd expect from Stevenage or Fleetwood for Burton. They'll be up and at us, they'll be in our faces. They've got some quality on that pitch as well, a spirit of the promotion in the last couple of seasons, and a team around us in the league, but all to play for. I think they've got injury problems themselves. I spoke to them they were having pretty much at the same hotel as we were on Tuesday. I spoke to the manager briefly, so it's well documented in terms of everyone's physical problems, in terms of injuries and players not being available, but we still have to find a way of being effective, and that's my job title in a nutshell. Find a way of making this team as effective as it possibly can be. Is it still functioning? It didn't do for 25 minutes on Tuesday, but then 70 minutes of the game were exactly where we needed to be. I hope to see that version to start with and for longer this weekend.